So now we're going to talk about the chain situational coaching model. The purpose of this model is to provide you with a framework for working through issues and opportunities with your colleagues and/or associates. There are two types of coaching. One is focused on long-term growth and development, and the other is focused on working through specific situations and opportunities. The chain model is a situational model for coaching someone facing a challenge or when you notice an opportunity for their development. Coaching is partnering with another in a thought-provoking, creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. It is not advising, mentoring, directing, or persuading. Your goal in coaching is to have an open and exploratory conversation that allows the other person to come up with a solution that they wouldn't have been able to generate solely on their own. It's important that you do not provide them with the solution. When you do, it becomes advising, and the person loses an opportunity for growth. This is especially important because it's been shown that organizations that provide coaching, either through equipping leaders, providing external coaches, or internal coaches, instead of directing, benefit in numerous ways. Some of the ways that they benefit include improved employee relations, team functioning, well-being, and emotional intelligence. It also enhances leadership development, productivity, and higher revenue compared to their peers. It's also important to keep in mind that everyone in the organization is a coach and can coach anyone else. Those organizations where everyone feels comfortable coaching not only their associates, but also their peers, other colleagues, and managers have cultures characterized by a growth mindset and far greater levels of engagement. This is a key part of owning your development, but also creating a coaching culture and supporting the growth and success of those around you. So how do you do it? The first step is to understand the challenge. What are you trying to do? Why is this important? What is the goal? What is the challenge? You then want to fully explore this individual's history with this situation. Asking that person, what have you tried in similar situations? How did you think that worked out? What worked? What didn't work? After understanding the situation and the history, you then want to brainstorm alternatives. It's important that you aren't judging each of these, simply reinforcing that this is a possibility, right? What are the alternatives? What are your options? What else might you try? It's common for people to think there's only one course of action based on what they're used to doing. Or sometimes they have what we call polarity thinking, where they think they can only do one of two options. A good coach can help them by asking the simple question, what else? You then want to explore the impact of these various possibilities that we now have on the table. This is important to help them look to the future and consider what would happen if they took a particular course of action. We rarely alone take the time to do this when we're working through these issues without support of others. What would happen if you did that? What would be the impact on you, others, the company, right? Employees, customers. So finally, it's time to summarize the next steps. What will you do next? When will you do that? What might get in your way? And the last question is important to have them to start to plan for possible obstacles that might get in their way and for them to plan for how they'll get through those obstacles and those roadblocks. All right, so now it's time to demonstrate. Hey, John, how are things going on the project team?
Pretty well. We're making good progress. I have to say I'm still having some challenges with Jerry. The team's not as motivated as they were.
Oh, that's too
when
bad.
we first started. Yeah.
All right, what would be ideal?
Well, ideally we'd be engaged as a team, supporting one another, and certainly meeting our deadlines.
What makes this so important?
Well, this is a big project, Nicole, and if we don't succeed, the company's not going to meet its growth goals for the year.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're really hoping that this team gets even more motivated, engaged, supporting each other, and meeting their commitments, right? Yeah. So what have you tried?
Well, last week we had a team building happy hour, and I think people got to know each other much better. I had that conversation with Jerry.
Oh, good.
And it went really well. I apologized and asked him to walk me through his idea, and he did. And I think as a result, Jerry's back to his old self, much more engaged and motivated.
Good, good. Well, what else could you do?
I've asked myself the same question. I'm at a loss. So I think it's time to take the issue to the team and to get together, ask people what their perspective is. And, I sense that there's still tension, but maybe it's just me. So get their perspective and see if they're feeling the same thing I'm feeling, and then identify some things that we can do to overcome whatever is causing our challenges.
Sure. What do you think would be the impact if you did that?
Well, people would certainly feel far more engaged, and I think it would build trust. It would also create a norm that it's okay to surface difficult issues.
Sure. So what will you do next?
I think we need to set aside the next project team meeting to have the conversation.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
How will you approach that?
Well, I think I'll open the meeting up by asking each team member to share what they appreciate about the others. That should put people in a positive frame of mind. It should make all the team members feel supported. And after that, work our way around the table and get people's viewpoints on what we're doing well and the things they'd like to see us do better.
Great.
And then maybe even identify a few things we can do and some steps we can take.
Great. What could get in your way?
Well, busyness, as always. People lose sight of what they're committed to doing, and there's a chance that we could continue to miss deadlines and not meet commitments.
Yeah. What would prevent that?
Well, I think another open discussion. Surface the possibility that this could occur, and we can't let it occur. So I think gathering ideas for holding one another accountable in a way that's respectful and supportive, and committing to speaking up when we see one or more team members not meeting their commitments.
Sure. Sounds good. How do you feel about your plan?
Yeah, I think it's a good plan. I appreciate the conversation.
Sure. Well, let me know how it goes.
I will. Thanks.
Now it's your turn. Open up your learning journal and consider a current situation where you feel one of your colleagues might benefit from coaching. Typically, you'll be applying this model more spontaneously as issues arise. However, at first this takes a bit of conscious practice to think ahead to who might be having a certain challenge and think, Sally might really be struggling with something and I'm going to go chat with her about it. In order to prepare for this conversation, jot down a few questions you might ask and plan for how you will approach the conversation. You can use the questions listed here, and you also have a detailed handout with the chain questions that you can pick from. Look at this list and pick out the ones that resonate with you the most, and go ahead and have that conversation. And yes, that means right now. The longer you wait, the less chance that you will have to actually have that conversation. There's no better time. Keep in mind, this is not you doing a lot of work. All you're doing is asking a few key open-ended questions. You don't have to have any of the answers. When you get the hang of this model, you'll find it's much easier than you anticipated and very natural. They are doing all the great insights and ideas. So hit the pause button and try it out. Go ask and listen. So how did it go? Time to complete the debrief questions in your workbook. How did you feel about that conversation? What did you feel resonated with that person? What was the outcome? What didn't work as well as you had hoped? What feedback did you get from the person about that conversation? Keep in mind, in order to know that feedback, you'll want to be sure to ask them. In order for this approach to stick, it's important to make it a habit. Schedule time on your calendar each week to go have a chain conversation. Be sure to take the time to reflect after each one. Know that this is one of the most important skills to master to be an effective leader, regardless of your title. To drive a coaching culture and to own your development and contribute to the organizational success. Good luck!